now that we're done talking about Paul Simon, let's talk about Dev Hynes and Blood Orange. We're going over the latest Blood Orange album,
Angel's Pulse.
Is this angel dead? We have no idea.
Judging by the cover, I don't think so. Dev Hynes is an English singer, songwriter, and record producer, better known as his stage name, Blood Orange. And last year, Blood Orange released his album Negro Swan back in 2018. It was a huge, vulnerable, emotion-filled urban odyssey with great tracks like Charcoal Baby, Chewing Gum with A$AP Rocky and Project Pat, Saint and Jewelry. And this is his first project since then, Angel's Pulse. And it's got a quote here. I'll read it for you. He says, and I quote, "I have a habit through the years of making records that I just give to friends or on tape to people on the street or no one. Usually this material, where does he give it to?"
Hey, buddy, you like a Blood Orange?
He's walking down the street and he's like, "Here you go." And just drops it.
Into the river.
Usually this material is made directly after the album I've just put out, somewhat of an epilogue to the thing I've made before. This time I've decided to release it. I put as much work and care into it as I do with the albums. So here you go, mates.
Is he Australian?
I don't know.
I don't think so, because he's English.
But he said mates.
So he's
I'm
Australian.
getting some mixed messages here. That's the end of the quote.
So this new mixtape is 14 songs at 32 minutes, and as the quote says, this is an epilogue, and it's not supposed to really be the main thing. It's more supposed to just be a loose epilogue that kind of follows the themes, and I think it covers a lot of the insecurity that was covered on Negro Swan, and I think it really powers through that idea of just insecurity, and also that like tender emotional thing also comes through I think a little bit more because of the lo-fi production on this. There's a lot more lo-fi strings. There's some really beautiful and glistening keys and guitars on this, but in all I think it's a little bit too repetitive and a little bit too short. It doesn't progress I guess enough setting, which is nice. Not to say there isn't setting progressions, because I think moments like 7 Hours Part 1 is a nice sample-based moment, and I think the last 3 tracks as well, Take It Back, Happiness, and Today, all flow really well together, besides being the fact that they're separate tracks. But moments like the first 3 tracks I really enjoy, but they're the same track. It just feels like it should all be one track, because it's so seamless. But yeah, I just think it needed a little bit more spaces to go and evolved, and I think the lyricism on this may be a little bit too simple. But as I said in our last Blood Orange review, Dev Hynes is not a man of words. He's a man of emotion, and I still think the emotion powers through on this, but I think for the most part, going through, I think it's not supposed to be bigger than his last release, because the epilogues are never bigger than the main plot of the story.
Then it would be a sequel.
Yeah.
Yes. There's a lot of really great work that I really enjoyed on this project. Like you mentioned, I Want to See You, Something to Do, Dark and Handsome featuring Toro y Moi, and then even Benzo coming right after that. I enjoy all 4 of those tracks, but like you said, it should definitely be like just kind of one big seamless moment. And I think that might be like what he was going for here, but the cuts made, I think, are really weird.
Yeah.
I think that he chose a lot of really great featured artists to be on here. That's
great.
What really caught my eye.
It's great, and it matches that balance of both being kind of loose and being present, which is nice. So, like, you got the full-on features, like Gangsta Boo is a full-on feature. Benny Revival is essentially just the whole entire track.
Yes.
Joba's a full feature. Arca's a full feature, but then you got, like, Tinashe. She's like a loose feature that comes through in some of these tracks as more like background vocals, and same thing with what's his name? But did I not put it on here? Porches is not really present as some other of these people, and doesn't have a bigger enough presence. But I think that's a nice balance of these features. Also, they're completely random. Like Tori Ma, Gangster Boo, Joba, Arca. These are just all over the place, and I really like it. The fact that also Joba gets an individual feature makes me really happy. Because it means it opens the floodgates for more of these.
They called the Brockhampton headquarters. They're like, hey, can we have Joba and Kevin answer the phone? He's like, yeah, we'll all be over right away. He says, no, we just want Joba.
No, Kevin is like, are you gay?
No, goodbye.
But yeah, I actually really hope only we get more of these like individual Brockhampton features in the future because of that. And also Joba's verse is really, really solid. Arca's frail and like off-kilter vocals really work in the setting more than I think it kind of works in some of his own settings.
Yes.
But it's nice to hear him at a different point. Tori Ma sounds pretty different. It's nice to hear him over some different percussions, even though I feel so like some of the drums on that track are kind of similar to things he would be normally because it's a lot of just lo-fi drums, 808s. But yeah, for the most part, I think this flows really well, but it just needs more moments to go into. Moments like 7 Hours Part 1 with Benny Revival, even though it's just this, I can't tell if it's a sample or full-on new verse or verses from Benny Revival. I like that the fact that we're getting this like not grimy, but grim bass, these hard drums that kind of make up this like the staticky distorted vocals, which are nice, and we're getting this like great presence. I think it's unremarkable. Baby Florence is a nice emotional switch up as well. We're getting into this new like ambient form, which is nice. This like huge void, this huge space reminds me a lot of the kind of the place and setting of the last record. It feels like he was alone. I think you described it as alone on a stage playing piano by himself under like one spotlight, and I feel like it matches that setting with this one, which is nice. But other than that, I just feel like it's more than a loose mixtape, but it's not more to be better than his previous work because it's just the epilogue. But it does match the setting, match some of the ideas, so it makes sense to be an epilogue. It's just not more than the original. So, yeah, that's about it. Keep in mind that all scores are futile and meaningless. Right now, I'm feeling a 7. I really enjoyed this. 7+, keep in mind. But, yeah, I enjoyed this.
Yeah, I think I'm feeling pretty much the same score. I really did enjoy this project. I think labels are kind of weird, especially when it comes to, like, how you label your projects, mixtapes, EPs, whatever. And really, that's why I say checking out the latest project versus any other thing, because the way that we talk about how we label like different musical projects is, I think, too restraining sometimes. Yeah. By knowing this is an epilogue, I don't want to discount it for being something lesser than an album, you know, or mixtape or whatever you want to call it. Like having it be the epilogue to an actual album from last year makes it seem like lesser in the public eyes. But like, I really enjoyed this. Pretty much like just as much as the album. Yeah. But just by having it be a little looser and less thematic, I don't know. It's like kind of takes away from it, the experience a little bit.
Also, it's the lyrical content is not up to snuff. The settings are not stuff. It's not as grandiose as it, because it's not, the production value wasn't set to be that high because it was never set to be released. So,
right.
Yeah.